I'm using pink gum paste. I've made this gum paste. It's fairly soft gum paste. I've taken a little bit of pink gel color and massaged it in there, just a very little bit, because I want it to be just a pale pink. You know, gum paste dries almost a shade lighter, and so it'll be very pale when it dries, and then I'll use the dusting colors to shade it up. Massaging some vegetable shortening into my gum paste to make it pliable. The warmth of my hand is helping to make it pliable. I'm going to roll this gum paste into a ball and then into a fat sausage between my hands. I'm going to take it across the 3 ridges of my cell board. This is the small cell board. There is a larger one with 5 ridges. This one seems to work fine for me. Then I'm going to take it across the 3 ridges, French bread style, roll fingers out with the flat of my fingers across the 3 ridges. I'm going to settle it about midway between the ridges and give it a little press down. And using my rolling pin, the rolling pin has 1/16 of an inch size guides on there, but you could do this without size guides. They're not completely necessary. I'm going to take this in the center of my gum paste, and as I gently press down, I'm just going to start by rocking back and forth to thin the paste. And then I'll add in some more pressure as I roll from the center forward and then the center backwards. What I'm looking for is about 1/16 of an inch. Lotus blossoms are not particularly thin, not like rose petals. And if you don't have size guide rings, that's fine. What I actually prefer to look for when I'm rolling out the paste is where the ridges slightly show through. So you'll see the little bumps of the ridges there. I'm going to take it a little closer so you can see that. Once I've done that, I'm going to gently peel the paste away from the board. I'm going to flip this board over. Excuse the ugly board. I was doing some brightly colored things on there. It seems to have decided to stay. And the ridge side is up. The cutter I'm going to use is the Wilton Wide Orchid Petal cutter from the gum paste flower cutter set that they sell. You can use really any kind of oval cutter. I like this one. It has the little point here at the edge that typifies lotus blossoms. So I prefer this one, but as I say, you can use any one. This one is about 2 1/4 inches or 5 1/2 centimeters long and about 1 1/4 inches or 3 centimeters wide. I'm going to center the ridge in the middle of my petal, and then I'm going to press down and give it just a little wiggle. I'll pick it up, and then just to accentuate the cut, I'll run my finger along the cutting edge. You won't cut your finger. So I'll do this to all 3 with the ridge in the middle and cut it out. This is a nice cutter also because you can cut out all 3 blossoms. It isn't so wide that the cutter overlaps over the ridges, so you can cut out all 3. I'm placing these up under the flap of a practice board, and I'll put the excess of my gum paste up underneath a plastic cup to keep it from drying. I like this is a Wilton practice board, but you can use sheet protector. You can use a plastic wrap across it, even a Ziploc bag. Now I'm going to insert a 26 gauge wire, 26 gauge white wire into the ridge of the petal. First I'm going to dip it in a little mixture I call gum glue, and this mixture is just about 1/4 teaspoon of gum paste, white gum paste, dissolved in water. That keeps about 2 weeks in the refrigerator. So I'm going to dip it into my container of gum glue and then kind of knock off the excess. I like to rub it against my wrist just to get the excess dripping off. And then I'm going to hold the petal between my thumb and index finger, and I'm going to slide the wire up about a quarter way up the petal. Now if you don't get it in the ridge, you can pull it out and push it back through. That's just fine. I'm going to give it a little pinch here at the base just to secure it. All right, for veining, you've got several choices. Now this is a number 2 veiner. This is a number 2 veiner, and it's got straight ridges here, straight little ridges there and that's what we look for the lotus blossom. Here's another one. These are called tulip veiners, lily leaf veiners. This is a really nice, this lily leaf veiner, but you can see they all have these sort of straight edges. You can even use a corn husk. So this is what they use to make enchiladas. Sorry, I got this at the grocery store, and it's got those straight edges, and it works just fine as well for pressing as veining. I like this one, this veiner number 2. Now I'm going to vein both sides. And what I'm going to do is vein this ridge side first. So I'll put the ridge side down on top of the veiner, and I like to use this cosmetic sponge you can get at any drugstore. I get these at Target, and I'm going to press down. It gives me a lot of control with these little cosmetic sponges, but any sort of thickish sponge will work good. And then I'm going to peel off, and it's got some nice veining there, and it kind of squashed the ridge, but that's okay because that's sort of the way it looks in nature anyway. So I've done the ridge side first, and now I'm going to flip over, and I'm going to press on the unridged side. Now this will take off a little bit of the veining from the ridge side, from this side, because I'm pressing down on it, and that's taking away a little bit of veining, but that's all right because I really want the main focus of the veining to be on the top of the petal. So here we have that. After veining, I'm going to soften the edges. So to soften the edges, I'm going to take it onto a soft foam. This is a cell pad, and the ridge side is again up. So this ridge side is up. I'm going to use a ball tool, and this is sort of the larger of the ball tools. You can see that's a medium, this is sort of a larger ball tool. And what I'm going to do is work from the base of the petal up to the edge. I like to work towards myself. So I'm just going to go on the edge of the flower. Now lotus blossoms come in all different sort of stages of curliness to their petals. So you can be very flexible with this. I tend to go for the real curl, and if you press really hard down, see how I press really hard down? That gives it a lot of curl. So once you've softened the edges, you may have lost the point there at the tip of your lotus blossom, so you can go and pinch it just a little bit to accentuate that, if you like. Alright, so that was the ridge side. I'm going to flip it over to the top of the petal, the unridged side. And I'm going to take this small pencil tool, any small pencil tool will do, and I'm going to have the pointed side facing towards the wire. And I'm going to wrap the base of the petal around the wire, just to give it a little bit of a curl there. That'll make it attach to the stem better. It'll look nicer when it attaches to the stem. Now to dry these, you have several options. You can dry them in a flower former if you like. So you can dry these in a flower former. This is a Wilton flower former. You can also take a paper towel holder, cut it in half, the insert of the paper towels holder, and cut it in half, and that'll make 2 of these little trays. But what I like to use is spoons, and so I have a plastic spoon here. There's a plastic spoon. And I'm going to take my petal and drape it over the spoon. And I also like to take the wire, bend it up just a little bit so that it really curls around that spoon, because lotus blossoms are not only curved, but they're also cupped slightly. So this spoon gives it a nice cupping and a nice curve.